For a long time now, physicists and cosmologists have been fighting about what is the center of the universe, whether that was the Earth as a fixed center and everything rotating around us, or the sun as the center and we can kind of see the movements of the stars and the planets all in relationship to the sun, or whether there was an ancient Big Bang from which everything is moving apart, and then that historic moment is the center, or now in some circles at least that seems to be falling out of favor. And I think most physicists would argue that there is no center of the universe, which leaves open the possibility that every place becomes the center of the universe, and which I've known all along, that I am the center of the universe, right? And everything rotates around me. And I say that tongue-in-cheek, but there's something true in our recognition as human beings, different than the other animals, that we're something special, that we're not just disposable, that we're not just a moment and a wash of anonymity, but there's something particular and something unique and something meaningful about me and my life. And it matters in a way that allows me to claim a spirituality, a permanence, a centrality. And we find in religion, right? I think we would know that without any religious teaching. But as we turn the pages of our scripture, we find that in fact we are children of God, and that we're made in God's image and likeness, and we bear his dignity. And so we have a right and a reason to claim that centrality, that place. Jesus also, the beloved Son of the Father, having heard that as he came out of the waters of the baptism, confirmed in his mission in the world to make the Father's love present, he goes out into the desert for 40 days and he's empty. And the devil comes to him in his emptiness and tempts him. And it's interesting, the parallel between the temptations of the devil and the Beatitudes that Jesus will teach, and later that life that he will most completely live as he hangs upon the cross. The devil tempts him with stuff. The devil tempts him with pleasure. The devil tempts him with fame, importance. And it's interesting, at that place where we are empty, because most of us find ourselves swimming in a pool of anonymity, oftentimes empty ourselves and struggling, but it's even in that emptiness that we recognize, that we hold on to, sometimes that we grasp for, our dignity, our centrality, our place. And that temptation to be able to hold our importance in these various ways, it affects us regularly, and we're invited with Jesus in the desert and on the cross to overcome those temptations. Empty, the devil says, yeah, but if you're the Son of God, you don't have to be empty. You don't have to be empty, you don't have to be sad, you don't have to be hungry. You can have all of the fulfillment, all of the joy, all of the pleasure that you want. Pick up the rock and eat it. You can do this. But Jesus recognizes his dignity, his centrality, his value as the beloved Son of God, without needing to be filled. And he says there's more to life than the bread that makes our stomachs happy. And the devil tempts him to have all of the kingdoms of the world. He shows him all of the cities and he says, you have nothing. You used to have a house with your mom in Nazareth. Now you have nothing. But you could have everything. And then you would know how important you are. And Jesus says, no. No, I know who I am. And the same with the fame as he takes him to the parapet of the temple and says, you're small up here. You're small, but you could be great. Just throw yourself down and you'll see how great people will recognize you to be. And Jesus says, I know, and my Father knows. And I've noticed in life that it's not pride because we're so sure of ourselves that makes us fail these temptations and grasp at our dignity. It's our insecurities. It's when we're not sure who we are. It's when we're not sure of our value. It's when we don't know how to see ourselves in the mirror or to see ourselves in the Father's eyes. Then the devil can convince us that we need to turn the stones into bread, that we need to catch the glimpse of others, that we need to fill our lives with pleasure because we don't know how full we are. And Jesus, not because of his humility, but because of his security, because he knew who he was, because he was comfortable with who he was able to push away the devil and claim the dignity that was already his. It's easier to fall for all of the false promises, the ephemeral dignity that the devil offers us, that this person might like me or find me attractive, that this group of people might think I'm important, that maybe my life is as beautiful as I paint it on Instagram, that these famous people spent time with me. Like we can fill our lives with these temptations, but we only need to when we can't recognize our dignity empty. And when empty, after 40 days in the desert, we can still see ourselves and know ourselves to be God's children. It will be in the humility of security. It will be because we know who we are that we will be able to overcome those temptations to pretend, to be more different, better, and ultimately so much less than God has already made.